Ladies and gentlemen, I've held this video back for a few days on purpose because I knew there was more to this than the initial fallout on the first day, and I really wanted to see how it plays out, and also because I don't want to just pin it on Enzo Fernandez, even though he's a fucking scumbag. That would be the easier thing to do, and the direction a lot of bigger content creators have gone, but I don't want to do that. I want to actually explore into the topic. If you have any idea what I'm saying, just skip ahead to any point you like in the video. I'll put chapters down below for your convenience. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, number one, where the fuck have you been for the past week? Number two, to understand what's going on, we have to go back about a week and a half ago to the Copa America final. Argentina played Colombia, Argentina won on extra time, pretty uneventful game. What was eventful, however, were the Argentinian celebrations. In particular, one of the chants they were singing on the team bus. Listen, spread the word. They play in France, but they're all from Angola. How nice it is. They're going to run. They are come travas like fucking Mbappe. Their mom is Nigerian, their dad Cameroonian. But in the document, nationality French. Yes. One word to describe the situation, bad. But this is not the first time this song surfaced on live TV, as if you go back 18 months ago to the World Cup final, you will see a group of Argentinian fans singing this exact same song. Word for word, bar for bar. So the fact that most of us, including myself, had no idea about this song's existence until about a week and a half ago, pretty shocking in itself. Now, Enzo got the brunt of the blame, and rightly so. He was the one dumb enough to live stream it in the first place, and if it weren't for somebody saying cut the video in Spanish towards the end, he definitely would have continued on. Now, it's also worth remembering that Enzo shares a dressing room with a lot of black French players back at Chelsea. Christopher Nkunku, Benoit Badiashile, Axel Disasi, Malo Gusto, Leslie Okachuku, who is most likely a direct junior to Enzo Fernandez, considering they both play in the exact same position. And lastly, Wesley Fofana, who actually spoke out against the chant on Twitter and Instagram, and eventually backed up by compatriot Jules Koundé. Now, a lot of the players that I mentioned earlier have all unfollowed Enzo Fernandez on Instagram, which he had that coming, let's be real. Credit to Fofana for speaking out, by the way. I'm pretty sure hiding behind the club's PR statement would have been the advice coming from above, or accepting Enzo's half-hearted apology, which he hasn't, according to Enzo's dad. Quick segment, by the way. This is Enzo's apology. Number one, the guy wrote in Comic Sans, which tells you how serious he is about this entire thing. And secondly, he apologizes for getting caught up in the euphoria of their Copa America celebrations. Yes, winning the Copa America got you so happy that you sung a racist song that you presumably learned by heart, considering none of you missed a fucking beat. But you forget that Enzo is not the only one that sang the song. Yes, he was the one that live streamed it, but he wasn't the only one singing the song. Let's look back at the video one more time. The guy next to Enzo wearing number 18, that's Guido Rodriguez. The guy who was banging the cabinet at the top, that's wearing number 16, that's Giovanni Lo Celso. The guy who came in towards the end, who I can clearly make out from the face, that's Leandro Paredes. There's still a lot more in that video that I can't make out who they are, but there's easily 10 people in that video, and that's just on camera. Who knows what the f they are singing when the cameras are off? So, why was Enzo the only guy that got the blame? Well, to answer simply, all they need to do is get a scapegoat, pile it on him, release a few PR statements from both the club and the player of how the club is against discrimination and how the player feels sorry, and everybody moves on and avoids solving the bigger situation, which this situation is. The ideal situation for Chelsea would be, number one, the club releases a PR statement of how they quote-unquote don't condone racism and discrimination. Number two, Enzo releases a PR apology of how sorry he is. And number three, everybody forgets about it and moves on. Wesley Fofana speaking out against the chant was definitely not part of the script, and I'm pretty sure everybody at Clearly Capital was banging their head against the wall when Wesley Fofana tweeted it out. But it's not only Clear League that are upset at Wesley Fofana. A lot of Argentinians, and I mean a lot of them, are unhappy that Wesley Fofana is offended by their racist chant, which sounds ridiculous, and it is. Rodrigo the Pole said how the best way to solve it would have been to call Enzo, not post it on social media, and that there was malice in doing so. Alexis McAllister said how the problem was Europe being more sensitive and how the chant was a lighthearted joke rather than racism. Enzo Fernandez's own dad said how it was impossible for a European to understand the football folklore and equated racism to making fun of Messi's height 5 years ago. I guess the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Argentina's own vice president got involved, saying how no colonialist country is going to intimidate them and how they're telling truths that they do not want to admit, and how she backs Enzo Fernandez. Recently, Enzo Fernandez went back to his old club, River Plate, where he was honored for the Copa America win. And in doing so, the River Plate fans sang the song. Yeah, even Wesley Fofana, the guy who spoke out against the chant, had to disable Instagram comments because he was getting racist abuse for speaking out against racist abuse. Lads, you're just proving his fucking point. Even Chelsea fans wanted to sweep it under the rug, saying how Wesley Fofana should not have spoken out to save the dressing room atmosphere, how Fofana could have just waited for the Enzo Fernandez apology, and how they all just want to move on and start a new chapter. The fact that they flipped it in a way that makes Enzo Fernandez the victim and Wesley Fofana the villain of the situation is astounding. I was gonna make a joke about how this is a Chelsea thing, but it's a Chelsea and Argentina thing, if we're being honest. But why this reaction? Why are they so pissed at a victim pointing up the racist abuse? Well, to answer that question, we have to address the elephant in the room and say out the uncomfortable truth that Argentina, as a country, has been built upon years and years of white supremacy. This is a country which has been whitewashed by its European descendants. This is a country which has treated its black people like shit. This is a country which treats melanin as the equivalent to fucking cancer. This has made Argentina a safe haven for far-right neo-Nazis as far back as decades ago to come in and spread their propaganda, and that's had an everlasting impact on their population. Recently, Argentina had an election and they elected a far-right president, and immediately after he was elected, he shut down the National Institute Against Discrimination, Xenophobia, and Racism because it was quote-unquote good for nothing, according to him. And there lies the problem. It's not a football problem. It goes much deeper than football, and until we are willing to admit that and start there as our conversation starter point, we are going nowhere with discussion about racism in football. They have a song making fun of black French players coming from Africa because they think they're racist superior, aka white supremacy. And until we are willing to admit that, this discussion's going nowhere. Making fun of people's ancestry, belittling their citizenship of a country even though they're born in it, is a feeling I know all too well. Personal story time, you can skip it if you want. I'm not full Burmese. My ancestors are from a whole other country, and that fact got brought up quite often when I was in school. Not as a fun fact, as a genuine insult against me. It started back in middle school, 6th grade to be precise. Do you have any idea how 11-year-old me reacted when I heard it for the first time? I literally just laughed it off because I didn't know how to react. Hell, even a teacher got fucking involved at one point, and I didn't know how to react most of the time. I didn't speak up about it because I just assume they're gonna say it's fair and it quote-unquote it's the truth. The same line that these football fans are using to defend Argentina. Hell, I thought I was the odd one, the same way that they wanted me to feel. Like, hell, I didn't know any better. I was a fucking kid. I never told my parents. I never told my close friends. I just sucked it up. And that's why I need to speak up now. Because I know how Wesley Fofana felt when he tweeted it out. I know how Badiashile, Disasi, Gusto, etc. felt when they saw their own teammate sing a song belittling their ancestry. And the fact that most Chelsea fans and Argentinians want to paint these guys as the villains in the situation is fucking sickening. And guess what? The fact that they're willing to put their morals on the line to defend these scumbags will only make the actual racists be bolder the next time they make their racist remark. And I know for past experience that FIFA will not step in to reprimand Argentina. And that'll be that. They're against racism, only on paper. And that's kind of the situation that we're in at the moment. That's it. I don't know where we're going with this. I think those Chelsea fans that wanted to sweep it under the rug are gonna get their wish, because that's exactly what's gonna happen in a few weeks' time, and everybody's gonna treat it as if it's a nothing burger, and that's the doomed reality we're heading towards. But I read a rumor that the French Football Association are gonna take the Argentinian Football Association to court because of this charge. Well, I hope they fucking do.